I can't even begin to do the math and how quickly the Earth was repopulated. I mean, it's just somebody's put a figure to that, but I kind of looked for it and couldn't find it. But I did find if you saved a penny and doubled it every day for 30 days, we probably all heard this, for 30 days, and you would have $5,368,709 in 30 days. So of course the population would not repopulate that quickly, but the same math. But it's the same math. But you know, I read too. It's 23, I think, maybe 22, 23. There were no, it's two. No, the population is expected to reach 8.5 billion by 2030 and 9.7 billion by 2050. What? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. You know, are we to stop being fruitful and multiplying? Well, yeah, at our age, yeah, but but while people are, but you know, people say, well, people are starving to death, and you know, they talk about the overpopulation. I read a deal one time that's been about 30 years ago. I read this, but they said, and I don't know where they came up with it, but if you took the whole population of the Earth and put them in the city limits of St. Petersburg, Florida, just you know, shoulder to shoulder and everything, you could put the whole population of the Earth in that. Now that's been, you know, of course it's multiplied a lot since then. May have to take a bigger city. Yeah, like Tampa and everything. Yeah. Yeah, I have to go to Houston. Yeah. Well, it's getting there anyway. Houston is, yes.
I think one thing that reason that people don't have the sanctity for life, even in the modern
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, is we only see this as a command to go multiply.
Mm-hmm.
This was a command from God.
Yes.
So it was to go have godly offspring.
Sure. Right.
We just seem to ignore that part.
Right.
And that's why we
Mhm.
have no sanctity for life. It wasn't
Right.
just go have babies, it was go have godly offspring.
Sure. Exactly. Right. That's true. And you know, but you know, Ben, and like I said, that is one of the arguments is too that several years, you know, they would say, well, people are starving to death, and it's true, but it's been several years ago, but there was a statistic which said there was enough farmland in the United States being rested. We used to say soil bank, being rested that they could feed the world. You know, and it's not that we are overpopulated because you know I think that like I said that command still holds, and we're not Christian people are well some of them they believe the lie.
Politicians know that if you control the food, you have power.
Sure.
And that's why people are starving.
Right. Yes. But like I said, the government pays the farmer not to raise crops. I mean, I went to school with a guy. When he said my plans when I get out of school is going to buy some farmland, put it in a soil bank, and I can make the payments on it. The government will make the payments for me. And so it's not that there's a shortage of food. It's a shortage of production and technology. But you know, it just makes me sick when I go to Temple. There, the prime farmland, they're building homes on it. It just makes me sick. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's gone. Right. Yes. Right. And so, but in addition to be fruitful and multiply, they were to replenish the earth or build it up again. You know, like I said, it's just, I can't even come close to trying to do the math. We're talking about three couples replenishing the earth. Oh, yeah. 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 Yeah, I got tickled, you know, when we were younger. You know, we'd go usually try once a year to go see my sister in Tennessee. And I remember her son said, of course, he was probably junior high then by that age. She said, every time I see Aunt Luella, she's pregnant. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Sure.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure about that because if you read Genesis chapter 1, it says, there was evening, there was morning, there was the first day. That has nothing to do with what Peter said.
Mm-hmm.
Peter said a day before is 1,000 years, but in Genesis it's very specific. There was
Mm-hmm.
evening, there was morning, there was the first day.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you have evening and you have morning, what do you have?
Mm-hmm.
24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I'm pointing at.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm saying is you can't apply what Peter said to Genesis
Yeah.
because that's not an application. It's a different context.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's all God's timeline, and the key word in here is multiply. I mean, we all learned the multiplication. What, when we start? Fourth, fifth grade, third grade. There you go. Thank you, teacher. Multiplication. It took me. I didn't get it till later on, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can remember about the first or second day when went to school at Tarleton. We were standing in the lunch line, supper line, standing there, and there was a guy standing behind us. He said, I'm going to quit taking calculus. Yesterday they said 2 and 2 was 4, and today they said 3 and 1 is 4. So now make up your mind, right? But the entire population of the world has been reduced to only 8 people. That, to me, that just blows my mind. Uh, 2 of each kind of unclean animal and 7 pairs of clean animals, minus those sacrificed by Noah in chapter 8. And I still think they could have multiplied while they were on the ark. I think they could. But yeah, kept them rabbits apart. Yeah. God's desire was for the earth to again be filled with his creation, despite the ongoing presence of sin. Sin didn't stop. When he destroyed the earth, it didn't stop. Otherwise, he would not have saved Noah's family or the animals on the ark if he wouldn't put stop to sin. God's new order included all the animals he had created initially, including the birds, creatures that crawl, and the fish, Genesis 1:28. Prior to the flood, man was in tune with the animals and they did not fear him. Adam and Eve had enjoyed harmony with nature. Now the aspect of dominion or rule was gone. Motivated by a God-given fear of people, animals would flee from humans in the threat of death. Man didn't eat meat until after the flood. So this fear of humanity and the animals was likely part of God's plan to have human beings rule over the animal kingdom. God placed them under man's authority. Although human beings could face mortal attacks by many animals, the fear that God placed in the animals provided a safeguard against such attacks. Now it could be some of the animals that we have attacks by animals. Some of the animals attacked. We've had here in the United States people being attacked by mountain lions, but it may be attacking. I'm thinking, it may be attacking out of fear. That's their only means of defense. Kill or be killed. Exactly right. Then in verse 4, God instructs Noah that there will be meat to eat, but with one condition: the blood was not to be consumed. This goes on when you read Leviticus, and it's all all in there about the blood consumed, about killing, about if someone's animal kills another one, it has to be put to death, and just on and on and on. But in addition, this permission to kill was for dietary purposes only. Now, eating raw meat containing blood was strictly prohibited. Now, I blew on his brother. He just said warm it on both sides, and And I no, it's got. I don't want. I can eat medium, but not the blood running out. Uh, so I don't know if that's sinning to have the, like I said, my brother-in-law just said just warm it on both sides and put it on the plate. Uh, Now, like I said, it's that's going a little too far for me. But are you eating the blood? Is one of the questions. I was wondering about that. But this restriction would be written in the Mosaic Law, books of Leviticus 17:10 through 14.
Whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls, for it is the blood that maketh atonement for the soul. Therefore I said unto you, children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood. Whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh, the blood of it is the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth it shall be cut off.
Okay, where's this leading to? The shed blood of Jesus, really. And where does it go back? It were, innocent blood had to be shed to cover Adam and Eve. And this is where it's leading to. I mean, Jesus, his blood covering our sins. And we know that Levitical laws where the priests go when they shed the blood. Well, it started back when Moses and led the children out of Israel, the priestly tribe of his brother, and it started shedding the blood. Covering the blood is the symbolic thing of Jesus' blood covering our sins. And no. Well, some of your people, the tribes and stuff, they drink the blood, and they think there's power in it, that gives them strength. Yeah, there's power, but yeah.
It takes some missionaries about 10 years or a missionary principle to build up your body to be able to handle that. They do those tribes.
Yeah, the tribes, yeah. And I got to wondering here. I was working down around. It was in, where was it? Anyway, it's east of San Antonio, and of course it was in the Czech and German area, and of course a lot of them are noted for their sausage. So I went and bought some sausage, and I wasn't paying attention, but I got home and found out it's blood sausage. I thought, well, was I sinning? My grandkids loved it. I mean, but like I got to think, well, was I sinning then when I was eating that blood sausage? It wasn't running. So so I don't know. But yeah, unknowing, yeah. Well, it was already cooked. I mean, it was cured. It was cured out, yeah. So yeah, you ate it. Just cut off a piece and ate it. But it was, like I said, it wasn't bad. But like I said, my grandkids loved it. I mean, they just thought it was great. Yeah. Yeah, it was just regular salt. It'd been cured and dried. I mean, you didn't have to cook it. Probably, but it was like just regular sausage, and it was kind of red. Yeah, 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 and they didn't waste anything. That's yeah. We used to say, when I was a kid, our family would come together and kill hogs, and said the only thing we didn't get was the squeal, and. But what was true of animal life takes on even greater significance in human life. Humans are God's highest creation and made in his image. So the sanctity of their lives from the conception to grave is paramount. Preceding the Mosaic law, the sanctity of life was always part of God's plan. Always. Yes. Now someone read verses 5 through 7, please. Now don't, yeah.
Blood of your life will I require at the hand of every beast will I require, and at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made be man, and you be ye fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein.
In other words, the New American Standard says, multiply, populate the earth. Yeah, be fruitful and multiply. This may be difficult sometimes, I think, to define, but it clearly speaks to the fact that humanity is accountable for the sacredness of the life of all God's creation. What does God mean by this? What I think of for today is, and we talk about God's creation, not man, but the life. Uh, some kill animals just for the fun of it. I have a friend who processes deer in wild game, and there's been occasions he's called me and he said, "I've got a deer here if you want it," and so he's given me meat from a deer that the hunter just wanted the horns. And well, at least the meat wasn't wasted. Sometimes they go, needy family or something like that. But I've heard of some who killed a deer and just cut the horns off and left the carcass laying there. And that's sin. That's sin. There's, like I said, there's people could use it and need it. I've never understood, some of these safaris these people go on, why some would want to kill a zebra or giraffe. I mean, what's the sport in that, really? But maybe it's and sometimes, it's to control the population, conservation practices, and the meat doesn't go to waste. And in fact, I went online and looked, and in some African countries, zebra and giraffe are eaten by humans. And they said even giraffe is a delicacy to some nations. Now, I don't know if I want to. I had to work with a coworker. He was in World War II. He said, "I know I ate horse meat." He said, and nobody, they didn't say it was, but I know I ate horse. Yeah. And so, if you're hungry enough, I guess you, but yeah, yeah. Camel bacon. Yeah, it wouldn't be pork. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we used to eat cottontails and squirrels and things like that. But I get tickled. Of course, Seth's got a little bit of me in him. The people's got the convenience store on the corner up there. They're, I don't know, Arab, Muslim or something. And of course, Seth, he's kind of befriended them. He'll go in there and he said, "Why don't you come home and eat supper with me? We're having pork chops." And of course, he's joking with them, but he's but it's just like India. They won't kill a cow. They're sacred, and it's some of these superstitions and everything. To me, if you're hungry, you're starving. If you're starving, and yeah, eat monkeys. Yeah, well, I think they thought there's plenty of them too. And but it's traditions and superstitions and everything. But God put everything here on earth for man. Uh, and like I said, some things I probably ate that I didn't know at the time what I was eating. But we were talking the other day about eating menuda and all this stuff, tripe and all this eating this stuff, and we've had what we call sweet bread, and it's the pancreas, and it's good. You fry it up, and it's good. But yeah, yeah, if you ever see that Dirty Jobs, you see them making that bologna. That'll make you think twice about eating bologna. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, sure.
On verse 5, my Bible reads, "For your lifeblood I will most certainly require an accounting from every animal that kills a person, I will require.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Okay, you can go if I'm looking at that right. If you're going back to Leviticus, saying if a person's animal, say I've got a cow and it gores someone and kills them, that cow's got to be killed. Yeah, yeah. And then really, I would be responsible too. Uh, so that's well, I've known of cases that someone had a horse and they were thrown off that horse and killed them. They killed the horse. They euthanized the horse and killed it.
That's why we used to just take dogs to the grocery stores. And
Used to, yeah,
everywhere?
yeah. Don't get me started.
Gonna have a little pig over.
Yeah. Well, I've said the joke. I've said, you don't see any stray dogs or cats around a Chinese or Mexican restaurant.
Actually, I remember asking a Filipino guy when I was young.
Yeah,
He was in the U.S. going to seminary,
yeah.
and I asked him. I said, "So I heard people eat dogs up there." And he get this little grin. He goes, "Long-haired dog for pet, short-haired dog for eating."
Yeah.
Don't go too local.
Yeah, don't go too local. Oh, goodness. Where were we? Oh, eating a giraffe. But God goes on to say God will require the blood or life of someone who takes another human life. We've got today a problem of people with that, well, capital punishment. Uh, and something, well, you kill in war. Well, that's different. You're not committing murder, and I know that gets kind of deeper into a different subject, but human life, capital punishment, uh, and it's something. Well, that doesn't deter. It's not a deterrent. It's a punishment. It's a fact. It's not the deterrent. Now I've said sometimes, well, I shouldn't. If I have public hangings, it may be a deterrent, but bring that back. But that's another story. But the sanctity of life is exceedingly serious to God. I mean, like I said, it doesn't look at it lightly. In the same way, all human life must be valuable to us. In fact, human life is so valuable to God that murder warrants the death of a murderer. God will hold humans accountable for their failure to value life. The big lie is liberals would have you believe the Supreme Court abolished abortion. This wasn't. That's a lie. All they did was turn the decision back over to the states, which is where should have always been. And of course, hear the cry. The Supreme Court abolished abortion. No, they didn't. They just took it out of their hands and gave it back to the states where it belongs.
State that did it, that abolished it, the person just goes to another state.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or there's someone in that state.
Yeah. Well, I look at it too. The blood's not on our hands. But Canada, I was reading, has passed a euthanasia law, also called medical assistance in dying. In other words, assisted suicide. Yeah. 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 Gavarkian. Yeah, that was several years ago. In other words, they say, well, it's due to an illness or things like that and stuff. It's not just like to go and say, well, I want to be assisted suicide. But still, that's playing God, as far as I'm concerned. It is, and I think the ones performing it and the one accepting it, I think they're both wrong. It's sin. In verse 6, the penalty for shedding human blood is the death of the murderer. In the act of murder, the offender takes the life of another human being created in the image of God. The murderer also sins against the victim, the person's family, and the community, robbing them of fellowship, support, and participation in the victim's family. In other words, what all have they robbed that person of? Maybe a family, maybe children, and on and on. In my opinion, but of course, we're going further. As far as I'm concerned, abortion is murder. And even though society does not hold all those responsible, I believe they will stand before God at the judgment seat. And one day, even though maybe they may not suffer here on earth or pay the penalty, they'll stand before God. Mm-hmm.
So, if
Mm-hmm.
When I was 15, I got pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and my mom wasn't even raising the child.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, that's when abortions and hospitals
Mhm.
started, and I was made.
Mm-hmm.
She took me
Mm-hmm.
to the hospital and we had to have an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
I was 6 months along.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Christ then. I had no idea. Um, so I was made to deliver that baby.
Mm-hmm.
So who's held accountable?
Well, you've been forgiven.
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
my mom and my dad are the ones that made that decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was before they came.
Right. They've been forgiven. Mm-hmm. God forgets. We're the only ones that don't forget. God forgives and forgets. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What the Lord could do with your life.
Yeah.
Back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, close to home, I was adopted, and
Mhm.
my parents that raised me weren't perfect, but they loved me and gave me everything I needed. And I thought all my life how blessed I was,
Sure.
you know, to be spared that. I even met my birth mother and had a relationship with her before she passed on.
Mhm.
And held it against her, but she made the right decision. But I've always thought I could have been, you know,
Yeah.
because
Right.
of laws that man. So,
Yeah.
And that's why I speak up so much against abortion.
Right.
totally understand.
Keith.
If abortion is not murder, then why is the man charged double homicide if he kills a pregnant woman?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's two-way. Right. But I think we can all go on, share. And I know when Loretta was pregnant with Dana, her second child, she became very ill, very sick, and she found out she had an infection in her uterus, and she just about died. And I remember standing in the hall talking to the doctor. I said, "What about the baby?" He said, "We're not concerned about the baby. We're concerned about saving her." And we could have had, of course, back then you didn't really give abortion and all that, but we could have had her aborted. But was a perfect baby, beautiful baby born. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they were perfect.
Yeah.
Lord blessed us with beautiful daughters.
Right. Yeah. God's in control, and God forgives. Yes, He forgives. And I know it's sometimes it's Satan keeps reminding us of it, and that's what it is sometimes. Well, remember what you did, and it keeps reminding you don't have a witness, and blah blah blah, and all this stuff. Yes. Mm-hmm.
More important that we need to tell everybody, get into this book.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's basic instructions before leaving.
Right. Yes.
And I do tell people I didn't have a choice.
Right.
I really didn't.
Yeah.
But I still think so. I know where that child is.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. My sister wrote a song. I was going to try to sing it sometime if I can get through it. And it's "Rock the Babies." The ones that have been aborted in heaven, she said, "Rock the babies." Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. But the Lord's strong statement against murder is grounded in His creation of Adam and Eve in His own image. Thus, to attack human life is to attack God, because His image within humanity is sacred and must be respected as such. After dealing with death, God turned His focus back to life. His words echoed His primary command for humanity, replenishing life on earth rather than extinguishing it. To Noah and his sons, God's direction could be summed up as, make this life, don't take life. In a real way, procreation represents the intentional commitment to the sanctity of human life. Someone read now verses 8 through 15.
God spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, Now behold, I'm establishing my covenant, a mighty decree and solemn promise, with you and your descendants after you, with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the livestock, the wild animals of the earth, along with you of everything that comes out of the ark, every living creature of the earth. I will establish my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the water of a flood, nor shall there again be a flood to destroy and ruin the earth. And God said, this is the token, visible symbol, a memorial of the solemn covenant which I am making between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I set my rainbow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of a covenant between me and the earth. It shall come about when I bring clouds over the earth, that the rainbow shall be seen in the clouds. And I will compassionately remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And never again will the water become a flood to destroy all flesh.
Amen. All humanity, with the exception of Noah and his family, had perished in the flood. God was starting over with this single family. Noah and his sons would be ancestors of all humanity moving forward. That to me just kind of blows my mind. All humanity. The drunk sailor. All the nations, ethnicity, I can't say that, clans and families of the earth are Noah's descendants. Now that's another another story that we could go deep into that. But humanity is one race descended from Adam through Noah and Noah's sons. The patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as well as the Israelites, are from the line of Noah's son Shem. Now, after the flood, God included this covenant, Noah, his sons, their descendants, and every living creature which he defined as all animals of the earth that came out of the flood. This covenant included God's promise that never again will every creature be wiped away by floodwaters. But at the end of this age, there's another global judgment coming to all creation when God will destroy this universe through fire. So if you'll read that, Linda, 2 Peter 3, 6, and 7.
Through which the world at the time was destroyed by being flooded with water. But by his hand the present heavens and earth are being reserved for fire, being kept for the day of judgment and destruction of the ungodly people.
So it's coming. God made a covenant promise that he would never destroy this earth or mankind or humanity with the flood. But there'll come a time when he'll destroy this universe. Will destroy this universe with fire. God gave a sign for this covenant of peace between himself and mankind and every living creature. It is also a covenant for all future generations. We can claim that covenant, that promise. Initially, the covenant involved those in the ark. After the flood, it extends to all creation. It is God's solemn word that he will no longer destroy the earth by flooding. Now the covenant included every animal that exited the ark. Along with Noah's family, this covenant was given to generations to come. It is a remarkable act of God's mercy and grace because he had already lamented the utter sinfulness of humanity. Despite knowing that human depravity would not change, God extended mercy to future generations in anticipation of the coming Messiah and his atoning death for the sins of all humanity. The rainbow was an assurance to humanity that God would keep his promise. He declared, this bow is my bow in the cloud. The rainbow was a visible manifestation attesting to the grace that God extended to the human race. I remember my brother Steve saying him and his brother got on his bicycle and tried to find that pot of gold, I never do that, but I was kind of wishing, you can drive. I've driven through a rainbow before. That's just something. Or double rainbow. We've all seen double rainbows. That's God. I think that's God's double promise. I think, but it is, and each time, and it just irks me and probably the rest of you that there's a group of people using the rainbow as their symbol. It's not their symbol. It's God's promise. And any comments? We got just about a minute to do. All right. Brother Stan, would you close for us, please?